Now, what are the selection criteria for as per the Oxford group? Is anteromedial osteoarthritis with an intact ACL and a correctable varus. Bone on bone, grade 4 deformity, KL grading, absence of lateral facet, patella OA, and age and level of activity is no restriction. So these are the actual criteria for the Oxford. What it means in the clinical criteria: isolated medial side pain, varus deformity with correctable on valgus stress, clinically intact ACL, FFD less than 10-15 degrees, proper patella tracking, and these are the set of x-rays you do to prove it. So what does this mean? It means it is an intra-articular varus deformity. MCL is not yet contracted and hence deformity is correctable on valgus stress. If pathology is intra-articular, it may better be treated there and UKR is a suitable option. So if our patient who's been given in this particular case scenario fits into this criteria, I would like to offer UKR. So immediately my opponent will start shouting at me, patient is too young, activity level is too high, weight is 70, UKR survivorship not good, high revision rate. So my dear friend, let's look at the literature. UKR in young patients with high level of activity, survivorship 96% at 7 years. That's a publication. Evidence of high activity level, again 2 publications, approximate 2,000 knees. After grouping them, there was no evidence of higher rate of revisions in patients with higher activity. Age and activity level, 2 again publications from general arthroplasty and knee. Younger patients less than 60 years, they did much better as compared to older patients, and UK is successful with excellent outcome scores in less than 60 years age group with 15 years survivorship at 86%. Average age in this group was 52 in this particular study. So UK in obese, again 2 major publication, and one of them is from Oxford group, says high BMI has got absolutely no role in adverse effect of adverse outcome in UKA. So what are the advantages of UKA? Faster recovery and rehabilitation, less medical complications, bone conserving surgery, better function, and higher forgotten joint score. We all need it. We can perform bilateral same stage surgery, less blood loss, less need of opioids for post-op analgesia. Disadvantages are certainly there, which are surgeon controlled. Early post-op complications like polyspin out, polywear, and progression of arthritis. So if your surgical technique is excellent, you can probably try and reduce your complication rates in UKR. So when they fail, sometimes there is a polydislocation, aseptic loosening, polywear, progression of arthritis in lateral compartment. What are the ideal indications of HTO is for varus malalignment on the medial side. So if the malalignment is around 15 degrees and your tibial bone varus angle is more than 5 degrees and it's a non-correctable varus because it is coming from the bone, and OA changes can be grade 2 or grade 3, that's where the osteotomy can work. Complications of HTO, I'm sorry, it's a very busy slide, Bhushan. Look at the complications that can happen with HTO. Multiple complications, early, late, implant related, correction related, everything can happen in HTO and the things can go wrong. So these are some examples of the fracture of the complications of HTO. Now look at the survivorship, HTO versus UKR. And this shows that Kaplan-Meier survivorship analysis at 7 to 10 years post-op showed 77% for UK and 60% for HTO. So the conclusion was the advanced design of unicompartmental prostheses and today's surgical techniques have been quite robust. Another gate study, excellent for UKR as compared to the HTO. Registry data for UKR, 10 years, 80%. Hayes et al., they reported 93 and 86% at 10 and 15 years, and Berger, 98 and 96% at 13 years. Registry data for HTO, not doing so well. If you see last 2 publications, 10 years, 75%, 10 years, 79%, which was around 90% in the previous slide. So survivorship of UKR, overall survivorship at 10 and 50 years are significantly better in UKR. For UKR, slight undercorrection is the key, and which we can achieve now very well with our robotic surgery as well. It's a kinematically aligned knee, and the medial joint biology is replaced. So even if you undercorrect the deformity, it is loading the implant. Surgeon, technique, and case load matters a lot for better outcome. While that of HTO works on slight overcorrection. So you are actually loading the lateral compartment, and some over or undercorrection of the deformity can cause the problem. So changes in the anatomy of the proximal tibia makes the future surgery also very difficult in HTO. So conversion to TKR, much better in UKR because there is hardly any bone loss. HTO, there is a problem with the slope, metaphyseal anatomy, patella baha, already hardware is there, so there is a problem. So again, literature compares UKR is much better than HTO. There's a lady with bilateral UKR walking 8 hours after surgery, which we can't think of in bilateral HTO. We cannot do it. This is another lady. To end this debate, I'll say this is a 51-year-old lady, 6 years post-op. She is able to achieve this particular posture after a UKR and doing very well. So in conclusion,
time up.
In conclusion, UKR and HTO are both workhorses for young arthritic knees. UKR should be viewed more as a resurfacing than a replacement. Young female and bone-on-bone arthritis is an ideal solution. Swedish registry has noted 3-fold increase in the UKR and actually halving the number of HTO in last few years. So if you want to know how exactly to do a UKR, there is an opportunity. We are holding a uni-compartment knee replacement conference in Mumbai, 20th, 21st in June. Please get in touch with me regarding this. Thank you very much.